Good afternoon and good morning. This is Mike Loy of Loyalty360, welcoming you to our ongoing Thought Leadership and Loyalty series. Today we have Richard Garlick, J.D. Power Global Travel and Hospitality Practice Lead, here to discuss how the new findings of a J.D. Power study relate to customer engagement and loyalty marketers. Good afternoon, Richard.
Well, good afternoon, Mike. It's great to be with you. I'm enjoying the technology that brings us together for this conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time and joining us today. So, according to a new J.D. Power 2015 North American Airline Satisfaction Study, more passengers will choose a brand based on reputation and experience, even over a lower price. So why is customer experience now such an important factor for brands in the hospitality and travel industry to consider?
Well, it's interesting. You can imagine that with all the talk of the pain that passengers experience in the travel industry, there's a certain percentage of traveler that's willing to actually pay for a better experience. So, for example, we see that about 80% of the passengers really don't have what we would call a true choice. So, for example, they choose an airline based on convenience, scheduling, price, membership in a loyalty program, all those sorts of things. But there's about 1 out of 5 passengers that is willing to go out of their way to choose one carrier over another because they have a real affinity for that particular brand's offering. So you look at an airline like Southwest, that they're a company that really touts themselves as a service company more than an operational transportation company. They have a brand offering that really appeals to their core customer. They know their customer, and 43% of the customers in our survey who flew Southwest said that they were highly committed to the brand. So even though Southwest prices have gone up, you've probably noticed, the customers remain loyal.
And one of the things that I found really interesting was the seemingly ineffectual low-cost strategy. So why does the low-cost airline model actually seem to reduce customer satisfaction?
Yeah, it's interesting that what we call a low-cost carrier, it's a funny definition, right? Because we tend to think of Southwest and JetBlue in that low-cost category when they really aren't low cost at all in the fact that they provide a little bit of additional services. Like, so for example, JetBlue offers you seat back entertainment. They offer a better experience. They offer headphones and all these sorts of things. It's what I would call more of a limited service model. Now, there's a certain number of carriers out there, and I guess for this purpose, I'll name a couple. Frontier is one, Spirit, that have chosen a model where they have a low base price, but they, for lack of a better word, nickel and dime. It's more than nickel and diming, but they add a lot of extra costs to the customers, sometimes which customers don't anticipate. So, for example, Spirit, which didn't rank in our study because it didn't have enough market presence. But the customers that did rate it tended to rate it quite low because you might have the experience, for example, of showing up to the gate with a carry-on, and because you didn't pre-check that carry-on, it's $100 additional. So in those kind of situations, people would rather just simply know what they're paying up front, and they don't like those ancillary fees. On top of that, those truly low-cost carriers tend to attract a customer that we call the price buyer. And they're the people that simply look for the best price, the best deal, and would fly on the wing of the plane if given the opportunity. But what's interesting about those people is that regardless of the segment in the travel industry you look at, whether it's hotel, rental car, or airline, and I'm sure you could even apply this to other industries as well, the price buyer is always the most dissatisfied, least loyal customer of any that we look at. So there's a certain mindset among that frugal customer that no matter how little they're paying relative to others, they're never quite happy. They could always be paying $1 or $5 or $10 less. So that's why that model, if you're going to go for the price buyer, it's a bit of a precarious model.
What are some strategies that can work for brands? How can brands better create the emotional connections that can result in higher customer satisfaction and loyalty?
It's interesting. One of the things that we talk to our airlines about are the simple things that people don't often think about. So, for example, we know that you don't make emotional connections with buildings or planes or rental cars. You make emotional connections with people. So, one of the simple things that we talk about is the power and the impact of a smile. That if flight attendants consistently smile, genuine smile at passengers as they come on the plane, it's amazing how that improves not only satisfaction, but loyalty, commitment, all those sorts of things. Think about when you go on a flight. Many times the person who's checking you into the flight is so consumed in trying to get people on the plane quickly. It's just very much, taking your boarding pass, scanning it, and moving on to the next passenger. How much trouble is it to just simply look up at you and give you a smile and a warm greeting? It's those simple things that make a difference to passengers according to the work that we've done.
From your perspective, has the emphasis on the customer experience recently undergone any major changes in the hospitality and travel industry, or is it maybe more of a priority now than it ever was before?
I think it's interesting that you have some companies that have always thought of themselves, whether it's a hotel company, a rental car agency, an airline, that always think of themselves as really kind of an operational transportation company. So that there are airlines that think of themselves as operational transportation companies, get passengers from point A to point B. And many times in those cases, they don't do a particularly effective job at it. There are other companies that truly try to create a differentiating experience for their customers. Another airline that doesn't have enough market share in our study to get ranked, but is another great example of the things that we talk about, is Virgin Airlines. If you've flown Virgin Airlines, you know that they have a very distinct customer experience that really, I think, appeals to the millennial traveler, the Gen X traveler. They have a safety video that's almost like a music video that's extremely entertaining. They have all sorts of features in the flight that really differentiate that airline from others. I had someone tell me today that Virgin Airlines is the one airline that they will actually go out of their way and pay more money to fly on because of the experience.
All right, great. Richard, well, thank you so much for your time today and for all of your insights.
Well, Mike, it's a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to speaking with you again sometime soon.
And to see more videos on our ongoing Thought Leadership and Loyalty series, visit loyalty360.org.